What up and welcome. This is the Golden Era. We are 1 week removed from the end of the NBA regular season, and we're diving in with you. We'll get you caught up on where we are, everything that's happened over the past 2 weeks in the league as our playoff races start to take shape. I was thinking about doing 3 weeks. I started doing a 3 week episode, and I was like, this is just too much content. So it's April 8th. Let's take you in. Let's get you caught up. Where are we? Here is the current calendar. Golden State, of course, continues to rule 60 and 17. Excuse me. What are our standings? Golden State sits alone. Sacramento, 8 straight wins. They have pulled slightly ahead of the Utah Jazz by 1 game for the 2 seed. That's our first race to watch as we close in on the final week. Second race to watch is this battle for 4, 5, and 6, which has gotten a heck of a lot more interesting with a hot run by the Los Angeles Lakers. 6 straight wins. Kareem Robinson has been cooking for this team. You look at their last handful of games, they've been going since really the All-Star break. They have been absolutely tearing through the league as they're trying to make their way in. And this is right where they got hot last season. Same exact spot. Kareem Robinson at that point returns from injuries. Not at this point. Kareem Robinson is back. This team is winning. That could obviously have implications on All-NBA, but they are now at 6th. Seattle, meanwhile, with a really struggling Portland squad, has jumped up into 8th. That's massive. Win and get in. Winning, you're the 7th seed. You get either a date with Sacramento or Utah. And the 9-10, it looks like it's going to be the Spurs at the 10 spot, but Houston is right there. They have not been able to take advantage. They've won some big games. It's been Darnell just really rolling. They beat Chicago, Golden State, Utah, but then they've lost some games. Atlanta, Denver that they really should have won. They just lost to Sacramento on the 6th. Meanwhile, the Spurs, they're just trying to survive with Carlos Fernandez. They have been up and down over the last couple of weeks since the last league update. Let's head to the Eastern Conference. The top is still Brooklyn and Orlando. Orlando sputtering ever so slightly, not keeping pace there, but both are going to be 50-win teams. The Milwaukee Bucks there at 3rd. They've been playing good as of late. 4 straight wins has them feeling like they're probably going to be the 3 seed, but can't put the foot off the gas here because the Chicago Bulls and Miami Heat are right behind them. And you go from being the 3 seed and home court advantage guaranteed in that first round, maybe in the second, to then battling for maybe not even getting home court advantage in the first round. It would mean a date with the Boston Celtics, who have lost 2 in a row and now have to deal with a surging Toronto Raptors squad and Jalen Justice. You look at this team since the All-Star break as well, racking up the W's. This team has been phenomenal since the start of March. Pacers have not been there, still without CJ McCoy. And then the second battle to watch is this one right here, 9, 10, 11, and don't look now, but 12. The New York Knicks have won 6 straight games. They're 1 game back of the Hornets, who the Hornets are without both Jonathan Malheur and Robert Mack, their 2 best players, both shelved with injuries. That means Kelvin Rhodes just went off for 49 points against Boston. But the Knicks, out of nowhere, are saying, hey, we don't need Trae Young. We've got R.J. Barrett on the shelf. We've got Zion Williamson coming off the bench. None of it matters. We've got a shot to make the playoffs. Screw it. It would be probably the worst thing for the Knicks to possibly do because they don't need to be in the playoffs. They need to be getting draft picks, and you could see what that would have done. They could have had the 3rd worst record in the Eastern Conference. Instead, they're flirting with it. It's just a mismanagement of their assets. They would have been a top 5, top 6 pick, lottery odds headed into the lottery. Instead, they think they want to make the playoffs, and even if they don't, they have now surpassed Houston for lottery odds at the 12th spot. So that's our standings. That's where we're at right now. We'll dive in to each of these games, or each of these days, and we'll keep you up to date. So without further ado, April 8th. Let's see what it holds. NBA Finals rematch, that's not where we're looking first. The Knicks winning streak continues, baby. 35th win of the season. Zion Williamson, 20 points. Joseph Corzine, former lottery pick, has 15. This group is absolutely cooking right now. They beat an awful Clippers team that wanted to lose, so it worked out for them. Warriors beat the Magic. No real major implications. This one, Javon Roll leads the way with 27. Big night from rookie Jalen House, 25 points. The Hornets, again, without their two best players, it's Kelvin Rhodes carrying the way. Their defense locking up the Pacers, and it's tough to believe in the Pacers right now without CJ McCoy. The Lakers run continues with a 101-78 win. Kareem Robinson, again, he's been phenomenal. You look at his season stats, you look at his recent games, he's just been a double-double machine throughout the season. Cavaliers beat the Kings, ends that winning streak. The Cavs trying to stay afloat there, 32 points from Dooling, triple-double from LaMelo Ball, 29 by Alston to lead the way. The Bulls beat the Hawks, needing a tight one to get that one, but 38-4-10 for Javon Stokes in the win. Miskad Zurich, the rookie, returning from injury. He had a knee injury that knocked him out early in the season. As you see, all these games missed. He comes back from that initial injury, then he misses about a month. He's back now, playing well for a Hawks team that needs all the good pieces we can get. And a quick shout out to my cat Nugget. She's right here. She's appeared in a video actually. There she goes. She's roaming. Yeah, shout out Nugget. All right, keep rolling here. Pistons, Sonics, 104-99 win. The Sonics trying to be, like we said, on the right side of the play-in. Alshon Webb trying to do his best to get there. Tough loss for the Celtics here, 113-104 to a really bad Denver Nuggets team. Though DeAndre Dawkins, who came over last season from Sacramento in a trade to Denver, has a big night, 25 points for the Nuggets. Bucks obliterate the Suns. The Suns have had some big wins, none here, and that's part of the reason why it's tough to take this Suns team seriously. A 131-97 victory for Milwaukee, and then the Mavericks take down the Timberwolves. The Wolves had a chance to try to catch up. No such luck. Big night from Abiz Ojale. Big question mark for this team is what do they have outside of Ojale? He was phenomenal. 32 points, minus 16 in an 8-point loss. But he needs some support. I don't know that it's Shamar Poole, Malcolm Knight, and Darian Hairston. Thunder beat the Rockets 124-96. 48, hold the phone here. 48 from Tobias Bell. Hello, sir. Getting back to his old ways. This might be the end of the line if we see a Spurs win pop up in the next day or two for the Rockets. Pelicans beat the Grizzlies, no surprise there, and no real challenge for the Grizzlies. They wanted that loss, and the Heat continue to win 28-10 from John Morant. April 9th, here we go. We are getting into the home stretch. No games. That was anticlimactic, I'd say. April 10th, we go. Then, can we get some games here? We can indeed, and we're going to tip it off with Hawks beating the Knicks. The winning streak comes to a close, folks. The Knicks' chances of a playoff spot might be dwindling now. They lose big time, 103-86, compounded by a Hornets win. This team Kelvin Rhodes is just cooking. 3 straight wins over Boston, Indy, and Philadelphia. Now, Philly's not that good, but still, 119-117. Took overtime in a barn blazer of 2 lottery-bound teams, Mavericks. Carlo Urqueg. If you want to talk about future of Dallas, it's Carlo Urqueg right there. He was drafted originally by the Raptors. He came to Dallas by way of the Terrence Clark signing trade 2 seasons ago. Magic beat the Suns 24 from Corey Flynn, our 6th man of the year, heavy favorite. Difficult loss for the Suns. They've now lost 4 of 5 to really good basketball teams. OKC, LA, Milwaukee, Orlando. It's why we say this team could be the one that beats Golden State. They've beaten Golden State 3 of 4 times. They beat them in those 3 games by 20+, 20+, and 14. But then, when they're facing other competition, they've just been so inconsistent. 7 of 21 from Jacoby Cleaves, 5 of 11 from Malik Hightower. People are talking about Jacoby Cleaves as an MVP candidate. I don't see it. How can you be an MVP candidate when your team's at 45 wins, losing ones they must get? Nets fall to the Trailblazers, 37 from Brighton Reed, not enough. Jonte Taylor goes for 33. Hello, welcome back. Savion White returns, and Portland just might have a shot at this thing. 24 points in Savion White's return. It could not have come at a better time. The Raptors beat the Lights. They are tearing this NBA apart right now. 35-10 and 8 from Jalen Justice, 26 and 15 from Ezekiel Morrow. Wizards beat the Pistons. They needed that to stay afloat in the play-in race. The Rockets They need a win. They got to win. They beat the Sonics 121-100. Big night from Darnell Gist. Big night from Cole Herringody, their rookie 19th overall pick. The Warriors, we saw that briefly. They beat the Nuggets 28-10 from Dixon. Cavs beat the Heat 112-97. They needed that win themselves to get to 37-42. We'll check the standings here in one sec. The Bucks beat the Thunder. Big night from Qualls. And then the Timberwolves, get over the Clippers with a little bit of struggle. No such struggle, though, with the Grizzlies. 29 points from Kareem Robinson. This has been a brutal stretch. The Grizzlies haven't scored more than 100 points since March 22nd, 85-70, 82. Oh, my God. This is like a 1990s, early 2000s basketball team, guys. Good Lord, are they bad. Holy cow. They got 16 wins on the season. They weren't getting the 17th there. All right, a couple days in, where are we standing? We'll go playoff picture for you. Warriors, of course, we're going to know that one's on top. That one's for good. The Kings, still a half game up on the Jazz. No ground being made there. The Lakers have jumped the Suns. They are now one game within Oklahoma City for the 4 spot. This team they're just doing Lakers things to us, folks. The Suns, 1 game up on the Wolves for the 6th spot. The Sonics probably not going to catch it, but now with Savion White back, a 1-game lead with 3 games to play. And nothing clinched yet, 2.5. All it takes, though, the Rockets got to win out. The Spurs got to lose out. So one of the opposite of either of those, and we've got our 10th team in the Western Conference. It's the only spot up for grabs in the conference. Other side. We'll get to the good playing in a second. Nets Magic. Stop me if you've heard this before. They're battling for the number 1 seed. Quick pause on this. The Nets, the last 2 seasons, have had to play their starters in Game 82 for seeding purposes. In the last 2 seasons, it's the curse of 82, of Game 82. 2 seasons ago, it was Louis Morgan and Brighton Reed suffering ankle injuries on Game 82. They missed the playoffs. The Nets go on to beat the Cavs as an 8 seed. They needed that win to get the 8 seed. The play-in hadn't been introduced yet. Last season, they needed the win to get home court as, I believe it was the 4 seed, might have been the 3 seed. They play everybody. They need a win. They get the win, lose Rashawn Matthews to an ankle injury. They get the 4 seed. They end up going on and beating the Toronto Raptors in the conference semifinals when Jalen Justice goes down when the Raptors were up 2-0 to make the Eastern Conference Finals. Here are the Nets playing consequential games. Game 79 coming up. For all things holy, just don't let somebody get hurt on Game 82. Please, we can't have this happen again. Let's just make sure everyone's healthy for now. Sasha Kasparov is back. I swear to the Lord, if we get another one, oh boy, oh boy. But anyway, the Bucks, number 3 seed, 2 games up on the Bulls. Bulls and Heat battling for home court, likely to play one another. 1 win by the Bucks, a loss by the Bulls or Heat, and that decides it. Celtics, the Raptors, man. The Raptors have been red hot. We'll get you their schedule here. They are trying to get out of the play-in and send the Celtics. We saw the schedule briefly. Here's another quick look at it. If the Celtics can't right the ship, man, that's going to be a disastrous fall. Although, you try to talk seeding, but it's tough to really get a grasp on it. Let's assume the Bucks are the 3 seed. If you're the Celtics or the Raptors, if you want to play one of them, I probably want to play the Celtics with the way Jalen Justice has been cooking. Of course, there's always the opportunity that it's Indiana jumping up for the 7. 3 games left, so the Celtics need a win to survive Indiana, coupled with a loss. And then the race, that's suddenly 4 teams for the 9 and 10 spot: Cavs, Hornets, Wizards, Knicks. You know who to pay attention to. Our bottom teams, just so you see them. Grizzlies, they're going to have the worst record. April 11th. Let's do it. Here we go. Big win for the Warriors, 124-123, but that's not what we're worried about. Spurs get the win, and that's going to decide it. That's your 10th team in the Western Conference. The Warriors, of course, beat the Thunder. That's what the Warriors wanted, or the Thunder didn't want. Timberwolves beat the Sonics in a much-needed win from them. Holy macaroni. You want to talk about a classic, folks. 169, 163, 50 points in overtime. We're talking like a triple overtime showcase. 56 points, 6 rebounds, 21 assists from Kareem Robinson. 53, 11, and 8 from Amari Swift. I should have broadcast it. I am sorry. Holy cow. This is awesome. Look at these numbers. Tyrese Halliburton, 19 assists. Oh my God, 23 and 15 from Xavier Carter. On the other side, D'Angelo Ion, 36, 10 and 7. 22 from Jay Kingston in 40 minutes. Oh my Lord, what a game. 51-45 overtime line. What are we talking? 4 overtimes? Wow, that is awesome. Lakers get the win. The Jazz, though, beat the Raptors, so that keeps the Celtics outside of the play-in. This guy. That's why he's the best player in the league, man. 52-11 and 11. Jalen Justice, not enough in the win. Get this man some help or get him the heck out of there. That's what I say. Bulls beat the Sixers, 127-124. Javon Stokes with 33. Pacers beat the Magic. So now we've got the Pacers and the Raptors tied for 7-8. So that's really just going to decide who's going to be the home court team, unless the Celtics continue to lose. Now it's one game separating them in the 6th spot. The Magic, they fall now probably half game until we see the result from the Nets game. But a big night from Nico Harrington. Again, still no CJ McCoy. They're surviving. Clippers beat the Trail. This is a win you cannot afford to throw away. They do it. 24 from Savion White, not enough. Elijah Fossas with the win. April 12th. What we'll do is April 13th. Ahead of that, we'll check the standings one more time. Grizzlies beat the Bucks. My goodness, the Grizz. That's not a great sign for the Bucks here. Can't lose to the worst team in the league by 3 on the road, but they do it. The Suns beat the Lights. There's something in there. There's a meteorological thing to that one, even though, what are we talking about? We've been talking for too long. Here we go. Heat Mavericks, 122-88. Heat beat the Mavs. Shock, none to be had. Nets beat the Pelicans, so there we are. We are one game up for the Nets in the Eastern Conference, 37-11. 33 points from Rashawn Matthews. That team continues to cook. Rockets beat the Pistons, 136-87. That does not really matter because the Spurs win ends any chance for them, and then the Hawks beat the Cavs. That's a tough loss for the Cavaliers as they're trying to stay alive. So we got 3 days left in the regular season. I appreciate you guys tuning in for this video. This is long. Can't help it. Well, I could. I don't know. Anyway, appreciate you tuning in. If you're not tuning in, I don't blame you. But we're having fun over here. We're having fun. We're looking at 51-point overtime games. We're looking at Jalen Justice. We had a cat shout out. We're having a good time. Jazz beat the Kings. Jazz and Kings sitting right there, both at 52 wins. So the tiebreak must be going to the Jazz there for them to be the 2 seed. The Lakers up to number 4. They've got the edge for home court there. The Suns 1 game up on the Timberwolves, and then the Sonics 1 game up on Portland. So Phoenix wants to stay above Minnesota. That keeps them out of the play-in. Seattle wants to stay above Portland. That gets them on the right side of the play-in. And the Spurs have locked up that 10 spot. They are going to be on the road to either Portland or Seattle, so the Pacific Northwest, for the first round of the play-in. Let's head to the East. Nets, with 2 games left, have a 1-game lead on Orlando. The Bucks, with 2 games left, have a 1-game lead on the Bulls, who are a half game up on the Heat. Nothing decided 3 through 5. Nothing decided 1 through 2. We'll keep an eye on those. Celtics, 1 game up on both Toronto and Indiana. Whoever survives that survives the play-in, doesn't have to win to get in. Otherwise, it's Toronto and Indiana playing against each other. Charlotte and Cleveland have the inside track here. The Knicks are probably out, and we're going to tell you right now if they are. All right, the Knicks, they are 2-1 against the Hornets, so if they win twice, Hornets lose out, they have the tiebreaker. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the other team. They have a 2-1 advantage on them in the head-to-head. So if the Cavs lose out and the Knicks win out, they've got the tiebreaker. And then they are, where is it? Try to find them. 1-2 to the Wizards. So if the Wizards and the Knicks end up with the same record, of course, the Wizards would end up as the play-in team in that scenario. So that's what's at stake. 2 games back for the Knicks. 1 back of the Wizards, 2 of the Cavs and the Hornets. They own the tiebreaker against both of them, so there's an outside chance they get in. Are we ready? April 13th. Here we go. Warriors win. Not shocked. Magic beat the Celtics. Not a good start for the Celtics night. 29-15 from Trey Hunter. 18 points in a must-win game, and they get the doors blown off of them from the get-go. The Suns, Anthony Edwards, a 6th-man contender, probably not going to get it, 135-80. The Nets beat the Timberwolves. Timberwolves needed that to try to stay above. They aren't going to get it. The Nets, with that win, could lock up the top spot. The Cavs lose. That's big if we see coming up a win from the New York Knicks. If you're just rooting for that chaos to continue, Lakers win again. They're solidifying themselves as a potential 4-spot. Clippers, Nuggets, inconsequential, but no big performances. Warriors beat the Pistons. We're not shocked. 39 points. Brandon Boston Jr., 35 in pointless game. Pacers beat the Trailblazers. That's big for the Sonics' chances of staying on the right side of the play-in. 23 from Nico Harrington. He's been playing well. 21 from Savion White. They're 1-2. Sonics beat the Jazz, so that's good for the Sonics to try to avoid going on the wrong side. That's probably going to solidify it. Hornets lose. Raptors win. 120-118. The Raptors... This man. Back-to-back 50-point games. Jalen Justice put the team on his back. 120-118 win at home. Kings beat the Spurs. Doesn't really matter outside of potential 2 or 3 seed. Knicks can't get the win against the Heat. Goes to overtime. They rally back. Down big. Down 20 at the break after the first quarter, but their comeback falls short. Probably for the better, but I was rooting for that chaos to happen because the Wizards also lose. The Thunder get the win. They're trying to stay pace for the 4 seed. The Bucks beat the Bulls, stand above them for the 3 seed. Keep the Bulls in that battle with the Heat. Where are we at? I know we're going back and forth, but here we are. Western Conference. It's Lakers, it's Thunder. Everything else is decided. So it's going to be Portland and San Antonio in the 9-10. It's going to be Minnesota, Seattle in the 7-8. Winner gets in and is going to play either the Kings or the Jazz. The Jazz have a head-to-head advantage. The only thing left to decide is that 2-3 seed and the 4-5 seed. So the Lakers and Thunder are going to go to battle in the first round. It's just a matter of is it's going to be for the 4 seed is it going to be in LA as our starting point or Oklahoma City? Opposite side. Nets, Magic, pretty much locked up. We'll check the head-to-head here in 1 second. Bucks, they are going to be locked in as the 3 seed. The Heat are currently a half game up on the Bulls. We'll check the head-to-head there. The Raptors have jumped out of the play-in, and the Celtics are on the verge of going on the road for it. We'll check all the head-to-heads there for you in a second, but nothing decided here because it's Hornets, Cavs, Wizards. We can rule out the Knicks, who are 2 games back with 1 to go. We'll check the tie breaks. Kings, Jazz have tied head-to-head 1-1. They play on April 14th. On April 15th. Winner of that game in Utah is going to be the 2 seed. That's the first game of our tiebreakers that we're looking at. Second tiebreak opportunity, Bulls-Heat. The Heat are currently a half game up on the Bulls, but a Bulls win in their final game with the head-to-head. That's Chicago moving up to be the home team in the Bulls-Heat first-round matchup in the Eastern Conference. All right, the Raptors, the Pacers, the Celtics. That's 6-7-8. They all have the same record, 46 wins on the season. Toronto has the head-to-head over Indiana, 2-1, and they are tied 2-2 over Boston. Better divisional record. That goes to the Raptors. Pacers against Boston. They're 2-1. They've got the head-to-head against Boston. We already covered the head-to-head against them for the Raptors. So, as our standings sit right now, it's Raptors, Pacers, Boston. If things played out as it would be, that's where we're looking at. It's going to be Pacers, Celtics in the first round of the play-in. Our last piece, Hornets, Cavs, Wizards. 1 game separates them. 3 teams, 2 play-in spots is the battle for 9 and 10. The Wizards have the head-to-head advantage 2-1 over the Cavs. Tied 2-2 in the head-to-head. We'll check the division record against Charlotte. Meanwhile, when you look at Cavs against Charlotte, Hornets have the head-to-head advantage. So Cleveland, no head-to-head advantage in either of these. The Wizards have the head-to-head, obviously, against the Cavaliers. And then the better divisional record currently is Charlotte. Washington has 1 more divisional game to go. If they win that, then they would draw even. I think it would go conference, at which point it would be Washington. So Washington wins, they're in. Charlotte loses, they're out. Cleveland needs obviously to win to get in because they have no head-to-heads against either. So Cleveland loss, Washington win, and we're there. Magic fall to the Raptors. The Raptors have locked up. You want to talk about maybe the greatest close in NBA history to a regular season. 52, 11, and 11, 55 and 10, 59, 15 and 15, goes to overtime, plays 48 minutes to avoid the play-in. He's not going to get it, but he's the MVP. Jalen Justice, MVP moments, 3 straight 50-point games is absolutely insanity. 47 and 35. The Kings win on the road. They're going to lock up the 2 seed. Jason Sanders has 34 in the win. The Suns beat the Knicks. They were foregone conclusion. The Pacers beat the Sonics. So they needed all 59 of those Jalen Justice points. 31 points from Alexander Sangalia, not enough. Pacers win. The Cavs beat the Clippers 113-112, so that will solidify the play-in spots there. The Timberwolves beat the 76ers. The Nets beat the Thunder. Just survive. Just tell us they're all healthy. Those look like healthy minutes. We're just going to... No injuries. No injuries. The Nets are healthy, baby. Headed to the playoffs. The curse of 82 does not last. Celtics beat the Hornets, so the Wizards game has some implications here. Celtics win that one 108-107. Bulls beat the Spurs 116-91. No real, mattered for the Heat game, but the Bulls win. So the Bulls now are going to be the 4 spot over the Heat. Nuggets beat the Mavericks. That didn't matter. And the Trailblazers beat the Warriors on the season's final day, 47 from Javon Roll. Lakers beat the Bucks. Big night from Kareem Robinson again. All right, in our last spot, as we get one last peek at the playoffs, Charlotte loss, a Washington win, and the Wizards are the 10 seed, getting a matchup with Cleveland. Otherwise, it's Indiana, Boston. It's Toronto at 6, going up against Milwaukee, Chicago, Miami. We'll do it old school, baby. Here we go. And the Washington Wizards, in a game against the worst team in the NBA, are going to walk out of here 134-110. Zane Bennett, 29, 14, and 7. Huge win. Cole Anthony. And just like that, we have our playoffs set, locked, and loaded. It is going to be Washington sliding in at 10. They're going to match up their 9-10 spot. Thank you for joining us, man. This was an adventure. I have no idea if it was engaging, but I think I had fun doing it. So if you tuned in for all of it or any parts of it, thanks for joining us. We'll be back with some playoff content. We'll do a little award ceremony for everyone, and then it is on to NBA playoffs, baby. The best time of the year. Thanks for joining. Talk to you in a minute.